Imagine two of the most powerful spy agencies in the world. One is American, vast, global, with resources stretching into every corner of the planet. The other is Israeli, smaller, leaner, but razor sharp, with a reputation for daring operations. They share intelligence, they coordinate missions, sometimes they even save each other's lives. But what if behind the scenes they don't fully trust one another? This is the hidden story of the CIA and Mossad, allies in public, rivals in private. The relationship built on cooperation and quiet competition. And nowhere is that rivalry clearer than in the shadow wars of the Middle East. Stay with us because by the end of this film, you'll see why even the closest intelligence partners never truly let down their guard. A partnership born in secrecy. To understand this relationship, we have to go back to the late 1940s. The Cold War was beginning. The United States had just emerged as a global superpower, and Israel, a tiny new nation, was fighting for survival against hostile neighbors on all sides. For Washington, Israel offered something unique: eyes and ears in the Arab world. Israeli agents were on the ground in places American spies couldn't easily reach. For Israel, the CIA offered what they desperately needed: money, technology, and global reach. From the very beginning, this was not a friendship of equals, it was a marriage of necessity. The CIA was the giant, Mossad was the street fighter, nimble, aggressive, and willing to take risk the Americans avoided. In the 1950s and 1960s, this partnership grew deeper. Mossad helped the CIA tap into Arab capitals. The CIA in turn quietly supported Israel's survival. But even then, both sides knew in espionage, information is currency, and no one gives it away for free. The first cracks. The Six-Day War in 1967 revealed the first cracks in this alliance. Mossad's intelligence about Egypt's military buildup was razor sharp. But when Israel launched preemptive strikes, Washington worried it might be dragged into a regional conflict. Then came the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Despite their cooperation, the CIA and Mossad failed to anticipate Egypt and Syria's coordinated attack on Israel. Each agency blamed the other. This was the first reminder that while they worked together, their priorities were not the same. For the US, the Middle East was one part of a global Cold War. For Israel, it was life or death. Syria, the Shadow War. Fast forward to the 2010s. Syria becomes the stage for one of the most complex conflicts of the century. The US focuses on ISIS, on counterterrorism, on stabilizing Iraq and maintaining influence. The CIA works with Kurdish allies, tracks jihadi networks, and monitor Iran's militias. Israel, meanwhile, has a different concern: Iran's presence in Syria. For Tel Aviv, Iranian weapons shipments to Hezbollah in Lebanon are a red line. And so, Mossad and Israel's Unit 504 build networks of human spies deep inside Syrian territory. They run agents among tribal leaders. They bribe Syrian officers. They provide targeting data for Israeli airstrikes that strike warehouses, convoys, and even scientists. Here's the problem: sometimes these missions happen without telling the Americans. US officials quietly complain that Israel raids risk triggering a wider war with Russia or Iran, but Israel insists it cannot wait. For Mossad, hesitation is a luxury they cannot afford. And so, even in the same battlefield, the CIA and Mossad often move in parallel, but not always together. Iran, the nuclear flashpoint. If Syria is a battleground of tactics, then Iran is a battlefield of strategy. The CIA wants to manage Iran's nuclear ambitions, contain them, slow them down, but avoid outright war. Diplomacy and pressure are tools Washington prefers. Mossad sees things differently. For Israel, a nuclear-armed Iran is an existential threat. That means sabotage, that means targeted killings, that means acting even when the US says wait. Take the case of Stuxnet in 2010, the cyber weapon jointly developed by US and Israeli intelligence. It sabotaged Iranian nuclear centrifuges. It was brilliant and it delayed Iran's program significantly. But then came a series of assassinations of Iranian scientists, killings widely attributed to Mossad. Washington was uncomfortable. The CIA feared escalation, but Israel shrugged. For them, survival justifies the risk. This divergence, caution versus urgency, is one of the deepest divides between the two allies. Competition for sources. In the world of espionage, information is power, and nowhere is the rivalry more obvious than in the competition for informants. Across the Middle East, both the CIA and Mossad chase the same targets: Syrian generals, Iranian defectors, Hamas operatives. Sometimes they cooperate, other times one side wins and the other loses. There are whispers of Mossad spiriting away high-value defectors who the CIA also wanted. And in Lebanon, US operatives quietly grumble that Mossad often shares intelligence selectively, just enough to stay useful but never the whole picture. It's the old rule of espionage: trust but never completely. Washington's balancing act. In Washington, this complicated relationship sparks constant debate. On one hand, Mossad is one of the most effective intelligence partners America has. Its networks are deep, its information is often precise. On the other hand, Israel's unilateral actions can complicate US diplomacy. Arab partners accuse Washington of enabling Israeli strikes. American officers sometimes feel blindsided. And in Tel Aviv, the feeling is mutual. How much can they really tell the Americans? Will US officials leak secrets to appease Arab states, or hold back intelligence if it conflicts with American interests? This tension ensures the CIA-Mossad relationship will always be close, but never comfortable. When allies collide, let's be clear, Mossad and CIA have served each other's missions more than once. But there have been dangerous near collisions. In 2008, Israeli jets struck an Iranian weapons depot near Damascus. At the same time, a CIA team was monitoring a different target in the same area. They had to abort their mission to to avoid exposure. In another incident, Mossad extracted a Syrian defector who was also on a CIA recruitment list. A win for Israel, a quiet frustration for Langley. These moments rarely make the news, but they underline a simple truth. In the world of spies, even allies step on each other's toes. Lessons of the alliance. So what can we learn from this uneasy friendship? First, espionage is not about loyalty, it's about interests. The CIA and Mossad share a bond because their enemies overlap. But when interests diverge, cooperation turns into competition. Second, secrecy is survival. Neither side ever reveals everything, because in the spy world, even friends can become tomorrow's leverage. Third, trust is always conditional. The CIA trusts Mossad to a point, Mossad trusts CIA to a point, and that fragile trust is exactly what keeps their alliance alive. The CIA and Mossad are partners and rivals. They cooperate in silence, compete in shadows, and clash in ways the public may never know, because in the hidden world of intelligence, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And as the nature of war changes, so does espionage. The next great battlefield isn't in the deserts of Syria or the streets of Tehran, it's in cyberspace. Join us in the next investigation as we cover the secret story of Unit 8200, Israel's cyber army, the hackers rewriting the rules of global power.